BB Jagadeesh is a big name in the circles of Silicon Valley's entrepreneurial ecosystem. He probably doesn't need introduction. He is one of the co-founders who started the big home run Exodus. Then he started Netscaler, and he's on to his third venture in India. But he's also the CEO of Three Leaf Systems, and he advises numerous entrepreneurs, and is well recognized, well regarded throughout, like I said, the Silicon Valley ecosystem. BB, it's a pleasure to have you here.
It's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure.
I think it's very appropriate since you are a seasoned serial entrepreneur and a mentor to many other aspiring entrepreneurs. Let me ask you this. A decade earlier, you and your co-founders were the big stars. It was obviously, it's never less of a challenge for an entrepreneur. But do you think, speaking broadly, the challenges in the entrepreneurial ecosystem has changed for the current crop of entrepreneurs?
So it's actually, I can answer this question both the ways. When we were starting the company, the challenges that we had was there were not that many investors who recognized Indian entrepreneurs. So as a result, raising funding or raising money for your company was a major challenge. We were fortunate enough at that time that we had Thai and then Kanwal Rekhi and Suhas Patil and various other Thai gurus who stepped up and then who funded us. But the first 2 years was a struggle for us. I mean, we had mortgaged our house, we had borrowed money from our credit card, and if the company had gone under, pretty much, we would have been on streets. But fortunately, everything turned in the right direction and we made it big. So today, because of the fact that many Indian entrepreneurs have proved to be successful, it actually helps a current generation Indian entrepreneur to go to a VC and pitch his idea, and the VCs are willing to listen. And in Silicon Valley today, right, close to almost 40–50% of the companies that are founded have either Indians as a CEO or Indians as a co-founder of the company. So that's a tremendous credibility that has been built over the last 10–12 years. Now, having said that, the challenges continue to be the same as what we had, despite the fact that there is a lot of funding available, there is a lot of VCs available. If an entrepreneur is new, and if his idea is not fully thought out and doesn't really give the message to the VC that it can create a big market, but you have to go through a little bit of that grinding, it is hard to raise the money. But at the same time, if the idea is well thought out, and if you can articulate the story well, and if there is a market opportunity, it's much easier for that entrepreneur to raise the money. So there is stories of how entrepreneurs are successful in raising money and building successful companies, and there are entrepreneurs who are struggling. And I myself am involved with a couple of these entrepreneurs. And I believe that is what the trend is going to be. It's hard to predict that in future is this going to change. I don't think it's going to change, because I think that is the nature of the capitalism. And the fundamentals of capitalism is all about an idea, the value that it brings to the customer, and the size of the market. If that is articulated well, then you have an ability to raise money and then move to the next level. Otherwise, you have to go through the grinding to prove so that a VC shows interest in investing in your company.
It is common knowledge that you have to first identify the pain point of the market, then try to address it. Some people do it the other way. They have already a solution that they worked on for years, and they feel that it could be used by the market to address the pain point.
And then they try to find the problem.
Now, when you are trying to mentor entrepreneurs, where do you see the bigger problems? And I'm talking about personal pain points for entrepreneurs. Where do they fail, where they need to enhance, and where do they click, you think?
So The places where I've seen entrepreneurs failing is trying to emphasize overly on the technology rather than figuring out where that technology is applicable. So this sometimes is the weakness of the entrepreneur. Because of the background the entrepreneur has got, he puts in so much value on the technology that, this notion of you build it, they will come. And if you apply that notion, thinking that I've got a fantastic technology, and when I build a product out of this technology, let me go figure out, or the market will come to me. I think most of the times, if you take that path, most of the times you'll fail. I mean, there will always be some success, but it's more an anomaly. Versus the other way, right? You anticipate a problem based on certain growth, problems that could potentially exist tomorrow. That's where the visionary comes in. And if you can convince the right kind of people, which includes, by the way, not just the VCs, but also people to come and join you, because you want people to come and join you, the right brains to come and join you as well. If you could do that, right, that means it's more validation. The more people who agree to the fact that there is a problem, or there will be a problem, and this is the right approach to actually solve the problem, then very likely this is the kind of company that's going to succeed. So it's an anomaly where that company would fail. And when it's an anomaly because you fail on the execution path, right? So all of these things is so critical. And in fact, I was doing an analysis of trying to understand what are the key ingredients of actually building a successful company. So it ultimately comes down to 4 key ingredients, right? The first one is identifying a problem, right? The second is, for that problem, you have the ability to come up with a solution, okay? The third is the ecosystem that you need that would give you funding, that would give you other resources and people to come and join. That whole ecosystem needs to be there. Fourth one, when you build this product, you need a customer who is ready to write the check. So all these 4 need to come together in order for an idea that translates into a product which eventually reaches the market where the customer actually writes the check. If you skip any of these things, it's hard for the company to succeed.
One of the biggest challenges for you as an entrepreneur, which particular area in terms of scaling your company or starting a company or building a team or funding, where you had really struggled and you overcome that?
Yeah. So luckily, fortunately or unfortunately, I've seen both success part of it, and I have seen failure part of it as well. So, every time when you go through these exercises, there is a lot of scar on your back. And even the success, it's not a straight line thing, right? You have to navigate yourself significantly. So let me take an example of what happened at NetScaler, which is more recent times.